SCP-3008. Object Class Euclid. The Infinite IKEA. By TheVolgun.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Miller, and the SCP we're going to be looking at today is SCP-3008. Object Class Euclid.
Very
Special
scary.
containment procedures. The retail park containing SCP-3008 has been purchased by the Foundation and converted into site. All public roads leading to or passing by site have been redirected. The entrance to SCP-3008 is to be monitored at all times, and no one is to enter SCP-3008 outside of testing, as permitted by the senior researcher.
Oh my god, so everyone who has gone into IKEA is disobeying rules. They're all in danger. We have to tell them. We have to tell them they're all doomed.
Humans exiting SCP-3008 are to be detained and then debriefed prior to the administration of amnestics.
Oh my god, there's gonna be like... They're gonna have to form a line in order to detain them. There's so many people.
Dependent upon the situation of
This
their
is
stay in
expensive.
SCP-3008, a cover story may need to be generated prior to their release. Any other entities exiting SCP-3008 are to be terminated. Description: SCP-3008 is a large retail unit previously owned by and branded as IKEA, a popular furniture retail chain.
Oh no, what happened to it?
Entering SCP-3008 through the main entrance and then passing out of sight of the doors will find themselves translocated into SCP-3008-1. This displacement will typically go unnoticed, as...
So there's like an isekai that happens in this case? There's like an interdimensional tunnel? Like we're going very deep. There's multiple layers. IKEA is short for isekai. I see.
No change will occur from the perspective of the victim. They will generally not become aware until they try to return to the entrance.
No!
SCP-3008-1
There is no escape! It's the same, but I can't leave!
3008-1 is a space resembling the inside of an IKEA furniture store, extending far beyond the limits of what could physically be contained within the dimensions of the retail unit. Current measurements indicate an area of at least 10 kilometers squared, with no visible external terminators detected in any direction. Inconclusive results from the use of laser rangefinders has led to the speculation that the space may be infinite. SCP-3008-1 is inhabited by an unknown number of civilians trapped within prior to containment. Gathered data suggests that they have formed a rudimentary civilization within SCP-3008-1.
So there is an entire social structure in here? There's an entire civilization? This is like Narnia, but they're in an IKEA?
Including the construction of settlements and fortifications for the purpose of defending against SCP-3008-2. SCP-3008-2 are humanoid entities that exist within SCP-3008-1.
Oh my god. They need to learn how to do human better. Like, he's got, like, hand feet. His head is way too long. Someone should tell them. They're missing their entire faces. They're really bad at cosplaying the human race.
While superficially resembling humans, they possess exaggerated and inconsistent bodily proportions, often described as being too short or too tall. They possess no...
You can tell that it's not a good person, it's a fake person if they're really short or really tall.
Facial features, and in all observed cases, wear a yellow shirt and blue trousers consistent with the IKEA employee uniform. SCP-3008-1 has a rudimentary day-night cycle, determined by the overhead lighting within the space activating and deactivating at times consistent with the opening and closing times of the original retail store.
I feel like they're trying so hard, you know? They're like, how to make it look like a normal IKEA for dummies. They're like, wear a red shirt. Be human looking. Turn lights off at nighttime and call it closed. The store is closed. Then every day, lights turn on. Then the store is open. Write that down, write that down.
During the night instances of SCP-3008-2 will become violent towards all other life forms within SCP-3008-1. During these bouts of violence, they have been heard to vocalize phrases in English that are typically variations of, "The store is now closed, please exit the building." Once day begins, SCP-3008-2 instances immediately become passive and begin moving throughout SCP-3008-1, seemingly at random.
Why are they angry at night? Oh my god, I could imagine this. They should make a video game on this if they haven't already. I don't know if there would be like some copyright issues, but man, they want you to leave but you can't. Oh, so they're just introverted. They just want to be done with their shift. Honestly, they've figured out, you know, human emotions pretty well then. They're like, I just want to be done working! 5 nights at IKEA, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, I'd be angry too if I had to work that much overtime. Get out!
They are unresponsive to questioning or other verbal cues in this state, though will react violently if attacked.
I mean, I feel like most, you know, human specimens would react violently if you attack them too. You know? I feel like this is the most normal thing I've heard.
SCP-3008-1 is known to have one or more exits located within, though these exits do not appear to have a fixed position, making it difficult to leave SCP-3008-1 once inside. Using any other door besides the main entrance to enter the structure or breaking through the walls of the retail unit leads into the non-anomalous interior of the original store.
So you just gotta bust through the wall? You just gotta run full speed at the wall? Or like cut a hole in it in order to escape?
Since containment began, 14 individuals have managed to exit SCP-3008. Following extensive debriefing, all individuals have been administered amnestics and released. Incident 3008-1. At 0:37 hours on 2000, a human male exited SCP-3008, followed 10 seconds later by an instance of SCP-3008-2. SCP-3008-2 caught and killed the man before itself being terminated by armed response personnel.
No!
This incident represents the only time an instance of SCP-3008-2 has been seen exiting SCP-3008. A full autopsy on the corpse was performed. See 3008-2 autopsy log for more details. The man was carrying an IKEA-branded journal, seeming to document his time in SCP-3008-1. Transcribed below, verbatim.
What do you guys think, by the way? Do you guys think that it's worse working for IKEA, you know, outside the SCP or inside? Because it seems like the one thing that stays consistent in both is that the workers are pissed off and they want to go home at night. You know what I'm saying? They're tired of it. They're overworked, underpaid.
So, I'm writing this to document what I can only assume is my sudden descent into insanity. I can't possibly be that bad a navigator. And yet, as I write this, I've been trapped in IKEA for 2 days. I haven't seen another person in the entire time I've been here.
Did you see somebody who looks like they might be cosplaying a person? Because they're trying their best. You know what I'm saying? I feel like the, going into the paranormal SCP IKEA would be worse because you can't even get rid of the customers, right? Or if you do, it'd be so much harder because the exits constantly change. And then also, like, if I put myself in their shoes as a, you know, entity, I also have to learn how to be a human. I just have to do that myself. And then when I tell them to leave, like, they don't leave. And then the exits aren't the same every time, so I can't even, like, frighten them and chase after them, like, to the exit. Ugh, that would be the worst. And there's just, like, random people skedaddling in the store after hours, like, writing in journals. Too tired. This one seems like the more difficult job.
I thought it was a prank at first. Turn the place into a maze, get all the people out, and see how long it takes me to get lost. Then everyone has a good old laugh. Realized that wasn't the case when I tried to backtrack. everything had changed, so I ended up lost. Instead of the exit, it was just row after row of bookcases. So I'm trapped in an IKEA. Sounds like the setup for a bad joke. The lights went out at 10 p.m., nearly giving me a fucking heart attack. That loud electrical thunk sound, and then pitch blackness. Place is full of beds though, and my phone has a torch on it.
I was gonna say, out of all the places you could be trapped in for the night, I feel like an IKEA would be the best. You know, it's not like there's lack of snacks there. There's actual beds there. Like, out of all the places to be trapped in for the night, like, you've got a lot of things in here.
But no damn signal. So I found a bed and went to sleep.
Don't they have Blahage plushies? So you could, like, curl up on the bed, get yourself a Shork Blahage plushie. By the time you get up, the store will be open.
I spent most of the day trying to find my way out with no luck. Did find a restaurant serving those meatballs, though, so at least I won't starve.
Wait, there's restaurants that serve meatballs? Alright, guys, I confess. I've never been in an IKEA.
Move this man!
I don't know if that's like a sin, but why meatballs? Why are they specifically serving meatballs? They serve Swedish meatballs? Why? Like, that is such a random food. Like, do they just have like a, I don't know, it's like the Starbucks that is in Target in some places, but it's like only for meatballs? Yeah, I know IKEA is Swedish, but I'm just trying to imagine what it looks like to have a pop-up restaurant like a Subway or a Starbucks, but it only offers meatballs, and it's just not checking out for me, having never been there. They're pretty good. Is it just meatballs on the menu? Is it just like, here's the menu and it's just meatballs?
It's probably the punchline to that joke. Anyway, they were still warm and fresh, but I haven't seen anyone around who could have cooked them. Made my way back to the beds before the lights cut out again since—
Bro, I wouldn't care about that. I don't care who cooked them. At least I get to eat food and sleep on a comfy bed while I'm trapped overnight. Like, I feel like I'm making it out good.
It's too dark to search with them off. It's 9:10 a.m. now. The lights came back on a little while ago. I'm sure I've searched the entire area where I came in now, and the exit obviously isn't here, so I'm gonna pick a direction and hope for the best. Day 3 of my magical IKEA mystery adventure. If I wasn't sure that there was something seriously weird about this place before, I am now. Walked for
I mean,
3
I feel like it's kind of impressive. I don't know how long people typically, like, survive. I guess it probably varies a lot between SCPs, but he's made it 3 days. And he's managed to, like, get sustenance and sleep comfortably, like...
hours in a more or less straight line. Insert IKEA joke here. Before I came across a ladder next to one of those huge stock shelves they have here. Climbed up to get my bearings, and it looks like this place just stretches on forever. Like that scene from The Lion King, except instead of trees and grass, it was all shelves and tables and crap.
Oh my god! Can you imagine if, like, one of the SCP, like, workers climbed up behind him on that ladder as he's in the Lion King moment and just yeets him like Rafiki? Just whoop! That's your last moments. Goodbye!
I did see a person moving not too far away though, so I headed over. Thought it was a staff member at first. It was wearing a uniform. Hell, maybe it was. Maybe freakish 7-foot-tall monsters with long arms, short legs, and no faces are just the kinds of thing that they want working at a super IKEA.
Maybe this is the optimal form. The ideal IKEA worker is built this way.
Damn thing completely ignored me though. And with no eyes or ears, I can't even be sure it knew I was there.
I would not be trying to get this to acknowledge me.
It or something to get its attention. But its hands were big enough to crush a watermelon, so...
Why would you want... Why would you see a person that looked like it had no face and no ears and was built completely strange and seek to get its attention? Please,
I
no.
decided against it. It just kept moving. And I
Thank-
eventually lost sight of it, so I decided to carry on the way I was going.
Okay, this guy has some common sense.
No comfy bed for me tonight. Looks like I've entered the improbably hard and pointy table section of the store. Guess I'll have to make do with some bunched up tablecloths. Phone battery died during the day too. Didn't work anyway, but I feel like I've just lost some vital lifeline. You ever see one of those cartoons where they're going through doors in a hallway and they just pop out of another door in the same hallway? That's how I feel right now. I've seen nothing but the same identical bookshelf for 2 days now. Just row after row after row of them. I mean, come on. I love books just as much as the next guy, but this is excessive.
He said enough of these bookshelves. I like how this is the first complaint. Not that he's been stuck in here for this long or he's like only had a meal of meatballs, but like the bookshelves. That's where he draws the line.
Obviously still moving forwards though. I can see the signs hanging overhead passing by. Too bad none of them say exit. Not sure who I was addressing that question to. Let's just say it was practice for the autobiography I'm gonna write when I get out of here. I'll call it
LOL, he thinks he's gonna get out of here.
Perfectly Normal Trip to a Regular Old IKEA. If I ever get out of here. Finally found some
That is like the worst title ever. Maybe you need to be in there for a few more days to come up with something more creative, my dude. You've had nothing to do but journal and be stuck in here and that's all you got?
people. Yeah.
Mid.
Turns out I'm not the only poor bastard trapped in here. Lucky for me, I guess. My 6th night here. 2 of those staff things came at me in the dark. Different from the first one I saw, but still messed up. Heard them coming. They were saying that the store was closed and I had to leave the building, all nice and polite like. I'm not sure which part of that was weirder. That they didn't have mouths, or that they were apparently trying to kill me while they were saying it.
But they were really polite about it at least. It's time to leave the store. Please find the nearest exit. Grabs chainsaw.
Came at me like rabid dogs. So I legged it, sprinting through IKEA in the dark like a fucking madman. I saw it when I cleared another stand in front of those giant stock shelves, all lit up with torches and floodlights. They've built a whole town here. Got a massive wall built out of shelves and beds and tables and whatever else. I swear to God it was the most beautiful thing I'd ever seen.
What?
Anyway, I guess...
How is that beautiful? That sounds so cursed. Like, ah, yes. I've never seen such a lovely thing in my life.
They saw me coming, or they heard my manly bellows of fear, because they had a gate open, and 2 people were there waving me in. Heard the staff thing slam into
His
the gate
manly bellows of fear? Pardon? Mm-hmm.
behind me after it closed, still politely informing us that the store was now closed. They wandered off eventually, though.
I also manly, you know, I also go out with Giga Chad enemy or energy every time. I you know, scream and I'm scared for my life. I only do it in a very honorable Giga Chad way. Ah, yes.
They call the town Exchange, because that's what's on the sign hanging from the ceiling directly above it. Exchange and returns. All lit up against the night, using lights they found and plugged into the power lines. And there are beds, and food, and people. Over 50 wonderful people, with regular-sized limbs and a full set of facial features.
Wow. Yeah, that would be kind of weird, like, if you were there for a while not seeing a normal person. So, like, when somebody else, like, entered the SCP, you're like, oh my god, it's so nice to see you. And they're like, what? And you're like, I just really like that you have a face and ears and normal dimensions.
It's now my 7th night here. And the first one not spent in darkness. A full week living in IKEA. There's probably a TV show in that somewhere.
I was hoping a video game. I feel like in a, you know, Escape the IKEA video game would go pretty hard.
Now that I'm around other people, I'm starting to feel more normal. Maybe normal isn't the word, but after a week with only the sound of my own footsteps for company, I was becoming increasingly sure that I'd just gone nuts. That I was tied up in some padded room somewhere, banging my head against the wall. But no, I feel quite sane now, thank you very much.
So I'm wondering why, I guess at this point, that there's so many other actual people here at this point. Like, is it every so many days they all end up where he is?
Apparently, there are other towns out there. Some with more people, some with less.
Right.
I found that fairly mind-boggling. How can that many people go missing with no one noticing? Surely someone would have noticed that everyone who goes to IKEA seems to f***ing vanish. Or maybe it's not everyone. Maybe we're just the lucky ones. The people here just call those staff monster things the staff. Apparently they're fine during the day, minding their own business, walking the aisles. As soon as the lights go out, they go f***ing bonkers. So, during the day, people
If
go
I have to work overtime as a retail worker, I would start frothing at the mouth, going bonkers as well.
out to find food, water, and whatever else they need. Apparently there are restaurants and shops around that get randomly restocked. No one knows how. Maybe the staff do it. Apparently they aren't very good at their jobs though, because the restocking sometimes takes a while, which means the food needs to be rationed. Maybe if they weren't so busy chasing people around in the dark, they'd get more done.
Do they eat the meatballs, or is that like impossible because they don't have a mouth? Because they can still talk apparently, even though they have no mouth or eyes. Do you guys think they consume meatballs? Could you give them a meatball ration during the day to become on their good side during the nighttime? You know, they're coming at you and they're like, wait a minute, you're the guy who gave me a meatball. I'll let you pass this once.
Anyway,
They absorb
when night
them.
comes, the staff go nuts and everyone holds up inside the walls. Apparently it's the same everywhere in this place.
Oh my god, they just slap the meat against their blank faces. Ah! Delicious. Man, I would want to see it. I'd stay there and watch them during the day. I'd go seek one of these creepy dudes out and I'd be like, here's a meatball for you. And I'd just watch. I gotta see how this happens.
Wherever this place is, your IKEA, from whence all other IKEAs sprang. Or maybe we're all still just in the regular IKEA and this is all some fever dream brought on by a mind-numbing boredom. Who knows? Been here for 10 days now. Most of the people I asked said they stopped keeping track a long time ago. And one guy, Chris, said he'd been here for years.
Oh man. I really wonder what makes it so they end up seeing each other. Is it like how long they've been in there? Were they always next to each other? Is it like layers of hell where when they like start losing it, they, you know, they go to the like a second level of acceptance and then they start seeing each other there, or what?
Years. Apparently there are rumors of people who do manage to get out, and people who see the exit only to have it vanish before their very eyes.
That sucks. Get you baited by the exit. You know, does it affect their sense of time? I feel like no. Well, yes and no. I mean, they technically have like the lights on and off, so you could keep track of how long you were in there. Like this guy's been able to keep track that he's been in here 10 days. But the fact that you are stuck in basically a back room that is basically a loop every time you try to leave, like you probably stop keeping track of time by going mad eventually, right? Like you probably lose your mind, so like, yes.
I get the feeling not everyone believes that, but I do. Explains how he got stuck in here in the first place. Sort of. And I mean, come on. Staff monsters, row after row of high-quality Swedish furniture. I don't know why they would find a disappearing door so hard to believe in. Anyway, I went out scavenging for food in a nearby shop with Sandra and Jerry today.
It would be interesting if they say in here somewhere, like, what happens if you found, like, a clock? Does it actually rotate and, like, accurately represent, like, when the day closes every night at, like, 10 p.m.? Do the clocks actually work, or do they all not work? Would be interesting.
In the landmarks of this place, it's not so hard to navigate. The overhead signs help a lot, but there are others. Not too far in the distance, a huge section of those giant stock shelves is collapsed against each other, and way off in the east, we all assume it's east anyway. Apparently IKEA doesn't sell compasses. It's some kind of tower that looks like it's made of wood. reaches all the way up to the ceiling. Maybe they were trying to break out through the roof. It lights up at night, so there must be people there. But apparently, it's a few days' walk, which means it must be miles away.
Oh my gosh. There's actually like a tower in there that might have been forged by people, but like every time like he's tried to travel, right? He hasn't actually gone forward at all. That's why he's stuck within like the bookshelves.
No one here really knows for sure. Apparently, I got incredibly lucky sleeping out in the open for a week without getting ripped to bits by the staff. That's
Yeah,
me.
I was wondering how he managed to do that, because we just learned that like the staff kind of go mad, right? And he was just kind of literally sleeping out in the open on beds. Like, he's lucky he didn't get clapped.
Lucky, lucky, lucky. We found some food in the shop. Guess the staff restocked it during the night, which was nice of them. There was a telephone on the wall, so I figured I'd try it out. There was a voice on the other end, but they were just talking nonsense. Random words strung together with no real meaning. You ever see a video of someone with aphasia? Kinda sounded like that. Didn't answer me when I spoke to them anyway.
Man, do you guys know what aphasia is? Because it's kind of important for understanding what he's saying. It's a lot creepier than So, aphasia is a language disorder that affects how you communicate. It's caused by brain damage in the area of the brain that controls language expression and comprehension. So like a person that has it, they might have trouble understanding, speaking, reading, or writing. So normally people who have this, it's usually a side effect of somebody who has like a stroke, head injury, or like a... So basically it sounds like they're trying to make sense, but their speech is in a blender. It's like they're saying everything and nothing at the same time.
Sandra says all the phones in here are the same. Oops. Asking the journal questions again. I was thinking last night. The ceiling on this place is pretty high, and as far as anyone can tell, it goes on forever. Shouldn't there be some kind of weather in here? I'm sure I read about some NASA building that was so big it had its own weather patterns, with clouds and stuff. This place is definitely bigger than that, but now that I think about it, I'm pretty sure I've never felt so much as a temperature change in here.
Bro, I'd start throwing things up in the air. I feel like they gotta have bouncy balls in here. I'd start chucking things up and seeing how far they go, or if they get eaten by the skybox. Is it infinite skybox? How long does it take the ball to come down? I'd be so bored, I'd start figuring it out.
I'll add it to the grand list of weird bullshit. The staff attacked the exchange last night. Must have been 20 or 30 of them all just asking us to leave the store, calm as you like, while trying to smash the walls down with their bare hands. Apparently this happens pretty regularly, so everyone is prepared for it. Knives from the restaurants, lawnmower blades made into hatchets, a fire axe. One guy, Wasim, even made a functional crossbow. Anyway, the wall...
So, wait a minute. Are the people that work here maybe people who've been here forever? Well, maybe not, though, because that one guy was there for years, and he hadn't become, you know, one of these. Because what's weird is it's like, if the staff are, the staff, it says, are trying to smash the walls down with their bare hands. So, like, doesn't that mean they want to escape, too? What's interesting, though, is they want to leave, too. You see what I'm saying? Like, they're trying to leave too.
Walls have holes in them, which I hadn't noticed before. Specifically so we can stab out at the staff when they attack. Took a couple of them down myself. They don't seem to bleed, which is weird. But they go down as easy as a regular person once you start sticking holes in them.
Oh, Jesus.
We had to haul the bodies away in the morning. Apparently the dead ones will attract more during the night, so we had to get them away from exchange. We have a couple of those trolley things they used to move big boxes around, so we loaded them up and took them over to pickup.
So basically, the plan you have is kind of like every so often, the workers, like, aren't trying to just murder the people and are actually trying to escape. And, like, throwing things at the walls, including their bare hands, and, like, doing everything to, like, make an escape, and that's when you have the advantage.
Apparently, people just name everything in here after whatever sign is hanging overhead. Pickup was grisly. There were hundreds, maybe thousands of dead staff all piled up. There was no smell, which was a blessing. Apparently, in addition to not bleeding, these things don't rot either. My curiosity got the better of me while we were unloading them, so I took a look at one of the more cut-up ones. They're just skin, or something that looks like skin, all the way through. No more.
Isn't this what people call a skinwalker, or is that not what this is? He's walking and only made of skin. Does that make him a skinwalker? I don't know the definition, but... Moving mannequins? Oh, okay. So never mind. They're more like hollow specimens. Oh, never mind. Skinwalkers are shapeshifters. Never mind, don't listen to me. I'm a filthy casual tourist. False information.
No bone, no organs. Are they even really alive in the first place? They certainly seem like they have bones when they're moving around, pounding on the walls. And I'm sure I felt more resistance than just skin when the knife went in during the night.
That's so weird. They got no bones. They got no bones!
Maybe something happens to them when they die. Just one more thing on the ever-increasing list of weird shit that goes on in here, I guess.
You know what I try to do during the day? Maybe this is messed up, but I'd start, like, getting a marker or a Sharpie. Like, giving them faces, I think, if I was going mad enough. So then I could at least keep track of how many of them there were. And, like, if I had seen them before, you know, like, are they also stuck where I am? Have they also been going past the same bookshelves I have? You know, I'd start naming them. Like, how long's Jeff been going past the same row of books? Does the same guy restock the shelves? Maybe this makes me a psycho, but I know this is one of the first things I would try to do. Is like, one, it would make it less creepy to humanize them slightly by giving them a face. And two, that way you could kind of keep track. Because, like, they're all dressed the same. So, like, unless you could memorize, like, which one, like, I don't know. Like, Dave's the one with the long arms, and Bob's the one with the, you know, like, really short legs and elongated head.
Something occurred to me. After the staff attack the other night, every time you see a situation like this on TV or in a film, like it's the end of the world or everyone is trapped on an island or whatever, once groups like ours start to form, the people always seem to turn on each other, fighting for food or dominance or whatever else.
I mean, it makes sense, because everyone's losing their mind and they're stuck. Maybe ask them for help finding the exit at that point. You can't. They don't know where the exit is either, and it keeps moving. Or a lot of the times they think they find the exit and it just moves when they try to use it. What if one that you drew a face on kills you? I mean, at least I know who it was then.
That hasn't happened here. Apparently
Still
people
sucks,
from other
but...
towns come by from time to time, just to check in or occasionally trade if they're short on something. But everything is always cordial. Friendly, even. Maybe it's the threat of the staff, or perhaps the constant restocking of supplies in the shops means there's nothing much to fight over. Maybe people are just better than they're generally given credit for. That's a nice thought. I think I'll go with that one. A dozen people showed up at the gates this afternoon from a town called Trolleys. Apparently the staff broke through the walls and tore the town apart during the night. These 12 are the only survivors out of over 100.
Oof.
We let them in, obviously. One more point in the human decency
I'm
column.
kind of confused about this part. I'm trying to understand. So, the staff broke through the walls and tore the town apart. So are the humans making walls to try to protect themselves against the employees? Or are the workers here also trying to escape and go through the actual building walls, and then they end up killing people while doing that? Like, I don't quite understand that part.
Later, I asked if anyone knew how many of these towns were out there. Between us and the new folks, we managed to come up with over 20 names. 20 towns filled with people, and who knows how many beyond that.
Wow, that's crazy. They're like refugees from, like, the other parts of IKEA. Yeah, it's like a zombie survival game, but IKEA. Okay, oh, they're breaking through the walls that they've made out of shelving and furniture. Oh, okay, then I think earlier in this video I might have misunderstood. I thought when they said they were trying to break through the walls and going mad, that it was like they were actually trying to break out of the mainframe, like the actual IKEA walls, in order to try to escape, just like the people could, because they said earlier in the video that the few people who managed to escape, or the few ways to escape, was, you know, busting through the walls, I think. So I think I might have misinterpreted that.
The motto for this place should be, how is that even possible? Surely someone, somewhere, must be looking for the thousands of people that must be in here. I've been here for a little over 2 months now. Not that much changes, as it turns out. A couple of new people showed up. Same story as the rest of us. Nice little trip to IKEA, and suddenly they're trapped in Billy Bookcase's house of faceless weirdos. The staff attacked the exchange once or twice.
That anime name would go crazy. Billy Bookhouse filled with faceless weirdos.
We kill them and haul off their bodies.
My isekai in IKEA.
Sometimes they hurt some of us first. They killed a guy called Jared a couple of weeks back. It was awful, frankly. Turns out, regular humans still bleed in here, even if the staff don't.
Oof.
We tried our best, but none of us are doctors. Jared was a good guy. He deserved better. We all do. It occurred to me that a couple of days after that, none of us were really looking for a way out of here. I don't even know where we'd start.
Not Jared!
One of those quadcopter things with a camera attached buzzed past exchange today.
Oh yeah, that's a good point also, is that like it's so big that people can't really find the actual walls to escape. Yeah. That makes a lot more sense. Yep.
Thought it meant that someone was finally looking for us, that help was on the way. Apparently it's not the first time this happened though. Same thing happened a few months ago, and everyone is still here. No idea if it saw us. It didn't stop if it did, just kept flying until we could no longer see it.
What the heck? Quadcopter? What's a quadcopter? Oh, it's a drone? Okay.
Note: based on recovery time of the journal, this entry appears to line up approximately with our first successful test piloting a drone inside SCP-3008-1. Analysis of footage shows a walled settlement under a sign labeled Exchange and Returns. Attempts to relocate the settlement failed. Origin of previously sighted drones is unknown.
Darn, so does that mean like they tried using a drone to like figure things out in locations, but like it still didn't really work? I guess that makes sense because like he tried to, you know, get out and keep walking, but he kept like going past the same bookshelves, right? Like, so I'm guessing going in a direction doesn't work the same. It's not like you can actually figure out, like, time and space and distance don't make sense here type thing.
I started talking to people about the stuff they miss from home during dinner today. Probably not the best idea I've ever had. Everyone seemed pretty down after. A bunch of people here have families. Husbands and wives, kids, dogs. Franklin apparently has a pet llama, though I'm not sure I buy that. But
you know what, if he wants to believe he has a pet llama in order to cope, I feel like that's fine. Don't question his pet llama, okay? Let him dissociate, okay?
Some of the people here have some seriously odd gaps in their knowledge. 3 of them had never heard of the International Space Station. 2 of them seemed to think it was the Prime Minister, and 1 of them had apparently never heard of the Statue of Liberty. I believed them too. They seemed just as confused as the rest of us.
So the reason they bleep out information is because if you have that information, it makes you like more susceptible to the SCP like affecting you, right? Is that why?
Thought about it though, the more it started to explain a few things.
Like you know too much knowledge, it'll get to you?
No one is looking for all us missing people is because we haven't all come from the same place. This is gonna sound weird. Maybe that should be the motto for this place. But
it's missing level clearance? Okay. Redacted.
What if all the people here have come here from different dimensions, realities, whatever you call it? I've seen enough TV shows to know the drill. Sarah comes from a place where there's no Statue of Liberty. They didn't launch a space station where Wasim is from. If everyone here came from different places, even from ones that seem identical, there'd be no huge missing persons panic, no mass search.
Oh, right. I wonder if... Are you gonna find people here from, like, other time periods? I wonder if people age here or if everything is on pause, right? Because time doesn't act normal.
Single missing person in a world of non-stop news.
Oh, yeah, or, like, alternate dimensions. That could be a thing, too.
Well, that was a fun train of thought. Just realized that yesterday was the 6-month anniversary of my arrival here. I wonder if IKEA sells party hats. The routine around here has remained more or less the same. More new folks show up, one every couple of weeks or so. Food supplies go up and down, but we've never actually had a major shortage. Occasionally we get a visitor from one of the nearby towns, usually checkouts or aisle 630. We check in with each other from time to time, occasionally trade supplies if someone gets particularly low on something. It's comforting, in a way, a reminder that we aren't alone here. Some small glimmer of civilization. Sometimes they bring medical supplies. Apparently there's a pharmacy a few towns down from checkouts that gets restocked every now and then, so they share out what they can.
Nice,
I've
nice.
never heard of an IKEA.
IKEA's not that old? Well, not in your plane of existence, it's not. Don't be so selfish, chat. You didn't consider asking the people from other timelines.
With a pharmacy before, but at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if someone stumbled on an IKEA organ harvesting lab. Would certainly explain.
Yeah, maybe IKEA was like around with the dinosaurs, you know? In their dimension.
Staff.
Maybe IKEA existed
Speaking of
before
our
people.
Faceless jailers, their attacks have been getting worse lately. 3 or 4 times a week now, with twice as many staff as there used to be. No idea where they all come from, or why the attacks have increased.
Yeah, so they're like, you know, they're sending some of the workers to the Shadow Realm, but then like randomly more employees are just spawning spontaneously out of nowhere.
We tried following one of them during the day a few weeks ago, me and Sarah. Wanted to see if they led back to a staff room.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't seem to go anywhere, though. Just randomly walked through the aisles.
They're just like us, for real, for real. They also are lost and have no idea how to get around here.
Had to turn back before we found anything. We've been reinforcing the walls, trying to arm ourselves better. Certainly no...
I'm really curious now if, there is like a finite number of them. Like, do their numbers just keep getting bigger and bigger and bigger? So you have to like cull their numbers in order to like... in order to stay alive better, you know? Or is it like there's a finite number, like 300 of them? So if you like, you know, life end 50 of them, 50 more respawn to take their place? You know?
A lack of materials to use. Wasim has been making more crossbows, but it's pretty slow going. Too bad.
Oh yeah, or like do the people that get, you know, the actual people that get ended by these workers, like, do they become new workers? Do they respawn as new workers?
IKEA doesn't sell guns. Never thought I'd say that.
Note.
Okay, I think this is a good thing. Because if they did sell them, then not only would you be able to arm yourself, but these, the workers would be able to too. I don't feel like this would necessarily make it better, right? Because I feel like the workers probably been here longer than you have, and they can talk. You know what I mean? Like, they're not necessarily dumb like a zombie is. Like, I would not be able to, trust that they wouldn't be a good shot, you know? I don't know that this would make it better. They could probably arm themselves too.
New personnel have entered SCP-3008 at site in the time span indicated in this entry.
I wonder what kind of loot they drop. Well, they said that they've They managed to take some of them out before, and they, like, examined them, and they're just literally made of flesh. They got nothing on them but, like, their outfits.
The attacks are getting bad now. Almost every night. And with so many staff that the bodies almost pile high enough for others to climb the walls.
Oh my god.
I think
It's like
we're
Attack on Titan.
in real trouble here. Exchange is... I think exchange is done. We got hit pretty bad last night. Not...
They aren't smart. Well, I don't know that humanity is that much smarter. You know, I don't know that the people are that much smarter than the workers, maybe, but...
Any casualties, but the wall is wrecked. We finally figured out why the attacks have been escalating too. A box of supplies had a chunk of one of the staff in there.
Oh!
No idea how it happened, but...
What the heck?
Apparently a piece of one will draw them, as well as a full body.
Oh no, is there somebody on the inside, among us, like among us in one of their little towns that's walled in, that sabotaged them by sticking the flesh man's, like, finger or toe in a hidden box in there so that they'd all, like, start running in to find it?
Too late now, in any case. There's too many bodies for us to haul away and still have time to fix the wall before midnight. Candace has called a meeting. I suspect there will be talk of abandoning exchange.
Yeah, they got an inside agent.
Maybe try and get shelter at the checkouts or something. It's already getting late, though. I don't think we'll have time to make it. Maybe some of us will. I was fine for that first week out in the dark after all. But then, how often can I keep getting lucky? I'm only writing this for a sense of closure, I guess.
I wonder if it's less likely that you get found in, like, no man's land, right? Like, if you're out on your own, maybe you feel worse because there's, like, no other people with you, but maybe you're less likely to get found because you're not, like, in a big walled-off area that's, like, obvious.
For me, or for anyone who finds this. If this is the final entry here, I hope whoever is reading this is doing so from outside of this place. My biggest fear. If I do die tonight, I'll just wake up here again in the morning.
I was gonna say, I wonder what happens when they pass away. I wonder if you could count how many. Well, I guess not, because there's different like groups of people in like a wide expanse. So you couldn't even like be like, okay, 2 guys were game ended last night and 2 coworkers respawned. It would be too big, so you couldn't even like figure that out.
Note: this is the last entry. It is assumed that while he was attempting to reach the checkouts settlement, he was separated from the rest of his group by pursuing SCP-3008-2 instance and happened upon the exit. Oof. I've been to IKEA a few times, and that guy's recollection, not that different from mine. Just saying, that place is a war zone. Also, why do I keep on getting assigned interdimensional SCPs? I don't know. Anyway.
I wonder how he got out and nobody else did. It's like, how did he find the exit?
I think that about does it for today. Thank you very much for listening, if indeed you still are, and you are all dismissed. Go away. I'm just kidding. Goodbye.
That was a good one. That was such an interesting story. What the heck? I wonder how good IKEA meatballs are, you know? Are they good? Because it seems like that would be like your food for most of the time in here. Is it at least good? Anyways, I loved this one. That was super interesting. In the YouTube comments, some people were saying I should check this one out, so I decided I would. Definitely was worth. This was great. 11 out of 10.